Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Zenitton and welcome to today's video for Legends of Runeterra. It is spoiler season still for Guardians of the Ancient. We're getting closer and closer to the set release. And we have a lot of cards today. We got some Ionia cards today. I know, Ionia bad, but besides new cards, we also have a new keyword called Blade Dance. It's a pretty sweet keyword. We'll look at that as well. No champion yet, sadly. Most people are assuming that Irelia will be spoiled tomorrow, the day before the set releases. Kind of sucks if you want to brew because it gives you less time before the set comes out to try and theoretically brew decks, but whatever. Anyway, though, before we look at the cards themselves, let's look at the new keyword called Blade Dance. So, here we are. Blade Dance. So far, Blade Dance has only shown up in one region, that is Ionia. Who knows if it will show up in any other regions now in this set or in the future, but Blade Dance basically says start a free attack with that many summoned blades, and you Blade Dance X. So as you can see here with these two new cards, there's a Blade Dance 1, Blade Dance 2. If you don't remember, blades are 1 mana 1/1s. I believe they're 1 mana that basically say when they leave combat they are obliterated. Now, let's look at all the new cards before we start talking about these new cards. Okay, so first card up we'll talk about is Ribbon Dancer, a Blade Dance card. 2 mana 2/1, play Blade Dance 1. Pretty decent card in my opinion. Solid, but the problem with just solid is you don't want cards to just be solid. You want them to be good. You want them to be OP without getting nerfed, of course. So the way to look at it is a 2 mana 2/1 is fine for a 2-drop, but the value comes in that free attack from Blade Dance, in my opinion, personally. So the way I'm looking at Blade Dance is I think if you're going to use Blade Dance cards, you need to get some value out of the blades. It's really hard to evaluate these cards as well because a lot of people are assuming Irelia will have some synergy with Blade Dance, and if Irelia does have some synergy with Blade Dance, some of these cards, which I think might not be that amazing, will be amazing because you want to play cards that have Blade Dance. But let's think about other things besides hypotheticals. What is a deck that would like to swarm the field or a deck that would like to get a lot of free attacks? Scouts, Misfortune, Quinn. Now, is taking out Demacia from Misfortune Scout decks or Bilgewater from Quinn Scout decks and replacing them with Ionia good enough? Maybe. I will say this, I do think Blade Dance will probably level up your Misfortunes and your Quinns much, much faster than a traditional Scout deck. And sure, Misfortune, when she levels up, no longer has Overwhelm. I believe that was removed. It's been so long since I've seen a Misfortune, but I believe she used to have Overwhelm. Now she doesn't anymore at level 2. She's still really strong and really tough to deal with when she levels up. Also, Azir. Azir really likes units that summon a lot of units. So maybe use this to power level Azir. Free attacks with Azir is really nice too. That gives him some more Sand Soldiers, which helps him work towards a level up. Which, it's not that hard to level him up as is in the Azir deck. That is probably the most played Azir deck, which is Azir Lucian. Also, I guess since we're talking about Lucian, again, I don't think Lucian will work well with Blades because the Blades are being obliterated when they leave combat. They're not dying like Ephemerals die. So they're not going to help level up Lucian, and they're not going to trigger like a level 2 Lucian to give you an attack token. So Lucian's kind of out with Blade Dances. So for now, we have 3 ideas. We have Azir, Lucian, and Misfortune, all of which seem to like the blades. I feel like the thing is going to be, do you have enough cards that are good enough in Ionia that merit removing whatever other region those decks would use, like Demacia for the Azir decks, Demacia for Misfortune decks, or Bilgewater for Quinn decks. Only time will tell, really, as we see more Ionia cards. But I guess for the specifically for Quinn decks and Misfortune decks, Scout decks in general, by going into Ionia, you get to play pretty much the best Ionia card out there. That's been the best card forever. Deny. Deny is pretty good. And then you get access to some elusives like Green Glade Duo. Green Glade Duo plus Blade Dances does seem really strong. You get a Blade Dance, you get the free attack with the blades. And then you get to since you summon a lot of stuff, your Green Glade Duo might be should be very, very big. It seems like it's a very interesting deck because it looks like it's kind of reminding me of discard aggro, not in the way it's playing, but in that it's going to be a very aggressive deck that is not going to be easy to play. And yes, discard aggro does take a little bit of thought compared to something like Burn, in my opinion. I've just upset all the Burn players now. Anyway, though, we've been rambling about the first card for a while because we were talking about Blade Dance as well and hypotheticals, but let's go to the next card, Syncopation. I'll be honest with you, I think this is the only card here out of these 5 cards that I myself will probably play. Not because I think the other cards are bad, but because the other cards are more for aggressive decks. While Syncopation is just, in my opinion, a good card. Syncopation is a 2-mana burst speed spell. Swap 2 allies. It is Shen's Stand United for 4 mana less, so 2 mana instead of the 6 mana, and you just don't get the barrier. I think that's really powerful. First off, the simple things. You can use it to protect something from some kind of removal like Mystic Shots, Vengeances, etc., etc. Of course, not if you have a like leveled up Karma or something on the field. You can use it as well with the Blade Dances. It has some nice synergy with Blade Dances. You can play like a Blade Dance card, use Syncopation to switch out the blade for some random unit. You will, and since that was a free attack, you should still have the attack token if you start with the attack token. You can Blade Dance on your opponent's turn when they have the attack token, technically, as well. You can also use it for surprise lethal. Like, let's say you attack in with like one small unit, one big unit. They don't block the small unit, but they block the big unit, and then you just use Syncopation to switch them around, and it's like, oh, hey, I got lethal now. You can also use it as a kind of cute combat trick where your opponent tries to get some good blocks. Syncopation to switch 2 of your units. Those good blocks are now bad, and you got like maybe a 2-for-1 with your Syncopation. Crazy card, in my opinion. The issue I have with it is it feels like it might be a little bit clunky for certain decks, like more control-y decks that might not have that many units. Still, though, I like the card. I think it's going to be heavily played. It's going to be really annoying for any kind of Ionia mid-range deck, though. Or really annoying in an Ionia mid-range deck. Anyone playing against Ionia mid-range deck will be annoyed by it. I think even control decks might play this, though. The issue I feel, again, with control decks is how do you fit Syncopation, Notify, and Deny all in the same deck? You're going to have to make some cuts because I don't think you can play all of those in the same deck. That's just a little too many spells that don't do anything unless your opponent does something specific, which is not a good thing to rely on. But yeah, probably my favorite card out of all these cards. Anyway, though, next card, Coastal Defender. A little bit of a blade payoff and more payoff in general. Coastal Defender is a 4-mana 2/6. He says, when you summon an ally, give me +2/+0 this round. It's okay. I mean, that's just the problem. It's just okay. If it said, like, when you summon an ally, give that ally +2/+0 this round, well, first off, he'd be nuts. He'd be busted. But then he'd actually be playable. As it stands now, a 4-mana 2/6 is not a bad stat line. Like, 6 health is really high health for a 6-drop, as seen from, like, what, Tom Kench? Sure, Ionia doesn't really heal their units outside of, like, maybe combat tricks, buffs, like Twin Disciplines. So he's going to take damage and it's going to be stuck on him for a while. Of course, you can always play, like, Targon to heal him up or something. And is it even that good? Like, again, like I said, it is synergy with blades from the Blade Dance. It's like you have the Coastal Defender on board. You play like Ribbon Dancer. That's like +4/+0 for the guy because of the Ribbon Dancer getting summoned and the Blade getting summoned. So he can get really big, but he has no keyword. And big unit with no keyword, nothing like no aggressive keyword, like, I don't know, Overwhelm, Fearsome, Elusive, or at least some kind of more controlling keyword like Challenger or Lifesteal, kinda really falls off in terms of playability. Very, very few cards see play that are just a big ball of stats. There have been cases where we have played cards that are just big balls of stats for a number of reasons, like Badger Bear. Before it got nerfed, was a 3-mana 4/4. We played it because it was really, really good stats for its cost, and the 3-drop slot was a little lackluster. But Coastal Defender, I'm not seeing this guy seeing play in Constructed. To me, he feels more like an Expedition card to enable Expedition Irelia and Expedition Blade Dance decks, so I feel like he's going to be more seen in that format. Anyway, next card. Another card I don't think is going to be played in Constructed. Blossoming Blade, 4-mana 3/3, play Blade Dance 2. That's 2 blades, that's pretty nice. 3/3 though, it's a little small for a 4-drop. Sure, 4-mana 3/3s have seen play before, and even smaller cards than 4-mana 3/3s for 4 mana have been played. But I feel like you will only play Blossoming Blade if you really, really, really value the Blade Dance, or else you just won't play it. Now, the problem is I feel like if you're not playing Blossoming Blade, that means Blade Dance probably sucks. Because I feel like any Blade Dance deck probably wants to play Ribbon Dancers and Blossoming Blades, and most likely Aurelia. I don't think Blade Dance decks will play Coastal Defender, but they might. Again, it all comes down to, in my opinion, Aurelia and how much payoff she gives for Blade Dance decks. Because in a vacuum, Blossoming Blade doesn't seem that good. I guess, like, it does help you increase the amount of Blade Dances in your deck, which, if you are a Blade Dance deck, I feel like you'll want to reach X amount of Blade Dances in your deck. I don't know what the number would be. Maybe it's like you'll want 9 units that Blade Dance, maybe 12 units that Blade Dance, etc., etc. Who knows? It's all going to come down to, like, other things like how good Aurelia is and what Aurelia does, in my opinion. But yes, if you want to hit a critical amount of Blade Dances on your unit, Blossoming Blade is good for that. Because, sure, 4-mana 3/3 is bad, but it's serviceable, and she comes down quick enough, in my opinion. And 2 blades is pretty nice, I guess. I also feel like another issue I see with Blade Dance is you're going to run out of room on the board. Kind of similar to Landmarks and Talia. So that might be an issue, but whatever. Who knows? And now, the last card that was spoiled today. I have no idea how to pronounce this, by the way. Zinea? Steel Crescendo. 8-mana 3/5 elusive. When you Blade Dance, I attack with the blades. Play Blade Dance 1. Also, these cards are all play cards, or Blade Dance is all a play ability, not a summon ability, so just remember that in case you try to do some summon shenanigans instead of play shenanigans, because meh. I feel bad for the Tri-Beam player who gets Zinea out of their Tri-Beam for 8, because a 3/5 for 8 is kind of bad. Sure, I guess she has elusive, so that's a nice thing, but a Tri-Beam for 8, you probably want something bigger than a 3/5 for 8. Anyway, though, I have no idea how to evaluate Zinea. I think my control brain is taking over here, and I'm just like, that's an 8-mana card that has really bad stats for the cost. But I feel like if you're using Zinea in your deck, you're trying to use her as a finisher for, well, a deck playing Blade Dances. And I guess, like, the cute thing would be, like, you have a... So here's the thing, though. Like, I think the idea is you have Zinea on board. You play her on, like, 8. And then she somehow lives to turn 9. And then turn 9, you play, like, some more Blade Dances, like Ribbon Dancer or Blossoming Blade or something. You get the Blade Dance in. And then Zinea attacks in as well. The issue with Zinea is I just think she's too slow at 8 mana. I just don't think it's going to be a fast enough clock a fast enough finisher for an aggressive deck. And of course, sharp sight's always a thing, but you can't just say that about any elusive. Be like, well, sharp sight's a thing, but it is something to keep in mind. And it does seem like you have to do it. Like, you can't be like, oh, I think my opponent has like Hush or Sharp Sight in hand. I don't want to attack in with my elusive. You'll sometimes see players do that. They have a Zoe or an Ezreal. They won't attack in because they're like, okay, I'm making a read. My opponent has Hush or Sharp Sight in their hand. I don't want to throw in Zoe or Ezreal and sacrifice them to the potential Hush or Sharp Sight my opponent has. Zinea, if I'm reading it her correctly, will always attack in whenever you Blade Dance, kind of similar to how J4 always pops out of hand if you attack and you have enough mana to summon him. So that is a little, that's a negative, of course. It's a little bit finicky there. Finicky is probably not the right word, but whatever. But yeah, I do think the card is playable. I don't feel like it's fast enough is the issue. But maybe that's a good thing, because I feel like a Zinea deck would be really annoying. But still, that's a lot of new stuff to unpack here. It's kind of hard to theory craft here and evaluate these cards too much, because these are definitely support cards for Irelia and whatever archetype she's trying to create. And like a lot of support cards, it's really tough to evaluate them without seeing, well, the champion. But as for the mechanic, I really like Blade Dance. It seems really cool. Very aggressive mechanic. I'm probably not going to play it too much. It reminds me of Scouts a little bit. So I personally don't think I'll play it too much. But yeah, every now and again, I'd like to bust out something aggressive. But yeah, the way it looks to me is like Blade Dance is pretty much just like, it's not, I don't think it gives you an attack token. I think it's similar to Cataclysm. So it shouldn't activate like Riven, I guess, and Riven shouldn't give you fragments if I read this correctly, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's worded improperly now and they'll fix it later. Who knows? But yeah, as for that, that's pretty much it. Big fan of all these cards except for, I guess, Coastal Defender. He seems probably the weakest, or at least the one with the lowest potential, because I do think Zinea is not good, but I think there is at least a little potential for her. Ribbon Dancer, I think, is good, along with Blossoming Blade, who I don't think is amazing, but good enough for a Blade Dance deck. And Syncopation itself is just really, really good. Really kind of nuts, in my opinion. Maybe there is a deck that I'm not thinking of that would love some of these cards, love Blade Dance as well. Like, I thought of what? Azir, Misfortune, and Quinn S3. I guess you could maybe, depending on, like, what? Maybe Zed? Also, Field Musicians with Blade Dance, of course, is also a cute combo. So that's also a nice engine they got going. But yeah, that's kind of it. I'd love to hear if you have any more ideas of how to build with these cards and brew with these cards down in the comments below, of course. Also, if you just enjoyed the video in general, it would mean a lot if you could leave a comment or a like down below. If you guys want to keep up with the Legends of Runeterra content, you can always go and subscribe to the channel as well. Also, if you want to catch me and watch me play some Legends of Runeterra, you can go and check me out over on my Twitch account at twitch.tv/Senaton. I stream there pretty much every single day. Anyway, though, with that all said and done, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!